Masha might have just come from lunch, but her tummy was full of butterflies. She had never been so nervous in her entire life, and it all centered around this midterm. Dex had been done, but he didn't look like his midterm had gone very well. Rebecca and Gerald had talked a little bit about their own experiences, but it had been vague and not particularly helpful. Dunstan hadn't shown up at all, and no one had seen him. The other blue bands talked quietly about what might be in store, but none of them seemed to know for sure what to expect. Brain exercises, to be sure, but it was hard to say with this place. None of them had eaten very much, and when the bell rang, they left for class amidst a flurry of quiet talk. "Can't be that much different from the test we took last year," Daniel said, looking at Jenny, Brittany, and Heather. "I guess so," said Heather. "They hyped the test up last year at school, but it all turned out to be nothing much more than a standardized test." "Yeah," piped up Jenny, looking less dour. "I bet it's nothing to worry about when you get down to it." This seemed to give them hope, but not Masha. Masha had never been tested in earnest. At her school, you didn't have tests until 3rd grade, but it was a little different in the kindergarten. In the kindergarten, it seemed like tests were whenever the adults decided they needed to test. Some of the older kids just thought this was business as usual, but not Masha. She felt like she might be about to shake off her chair as Mrs. Cashmere came in and smiled at all of them. Masha liked Mrs. Cashmere. She was always smiling and telling them to do their best, and it reminded her of her kindergarten teacher back at regular school. What had her name been? Masha tried to remember, but it kept slipping. Miss Honey, Miss Honeywell, Mrs. Hunter. Masha pushed it out again. It didn't matter. What mattered was getting through this midterm alive. "Good morning, class. Now that we've had our lunch, it's time for our midterms." As if on cue, the door opened, and 5 adults walked in. They were the ones who took the children. Masha was sure of it. They filed in like soldiers and lined up behind Mrs. Cashmere. They didn't look at anything in particular, but just stood in perfect silence as she spread her hands. "These are our helpers. You'll be sharing your powers with them. If you're a sender, then you will be sending them a pre-planned image, like a sandy beach or a forest at night. If you're a receiver, then you will be pulling an image from their mind that we have told them to think about. At the end of class, we will assess your abilities based on the progress you've made." Many of the students seemed to ease noticeably, and Mrs. Cashmere laughed at their elated faces. "What did you think midterm was going to entail? This isn't Hogwarts. No one is going to ask you to fight a dragon." That got some chuckles from the students, and as the adults, the snatchers, Masha thought, paired off with the kids, there seemed to be some kind of problem with the one assigned to Masha. The woman blinked and turned to speak quietly with the teacher. The two had a soft but heated discussion, and finally the woman took a seat. She was dark-skinned, Indian maybe, and her hair was wound into a tight braid that fell down her back. "Hello," she said, smiling warmly. "I'll be your tester today. Are you a sender or a receiver?" Masha suspected she was both, but she'd been designated as a sender, and she told her so. The woman was smiling, but Masha could see the sweat creeping down her neck. She was nervous, but Masha wasn't sure why. Masha was just a little girl. Why would this woman be scared of her? It didn't make sense, but Masha thought that she could find out. "Very well, here," she said, offering her a card. "Take one and beam the image into my head." Her hands shook as she offered them, and Masha took one from the middle and read it to herself. A beach, just before a thunderstorm. Masha nodded, closing her eyes and beaming the thoughts into the woman's mind. The hardest part of this was not smiling as she sent and received. Masha was sending the woman exactly what she wanted, a seaside with a thunderstorm back in the background. The clouds were rolling in, the waves were crashing on the sand, and she had placed the woman on the shore as she lay on a blanket and watched it all happen. If she wanted to get fancy, Masha could even simulate raindrops on her skin when the rain came in. The sand would grit under her hand. She could hear the seagulls as they wheeled through the rough sky. But all of it was little more than an illusion. As the woman watched the waves and the clouds, Masha rifled through her memories. The woman's name was Anna. She was 28 years old, a college graduate, and she was swimming in debt. Normally, the Air Force would have covered her schooling when she got out, but she'd been dishonorably discharged because one of her commanding officers had laid on top of her a few times and then wouldn't see her again. Masha wasn't sure what that meant, but it was probably one of those things that adults did that just didn't make a lot of sense. When Anna had threatened to tell her higher-ups about the affair, he had acted first. He had told people she was trying to steal money from him. That wasn't exactly it, but it was something like that. Whatever it was, they had thrown her out of the Air Force over it. She'd been discharged and decided to go to college instead. She found it hard to get work, and her degree didn't mean much once she had. That's how she had fallen in with these people. They paid big bucks to grab kids off the sidewalk and out of their houses. She looked nice, kind of like one of the princesses in a Disney cartoon. But she wasn't. She stole kids. She hurt people. She... Stop, Anna whispered, but Masha ignored her. She kept going. She made sure to bring the rain in to distract the woman from her rifling, but she knew she could feel it. Masha had done it before, but she'd never been this deliberate. She saw that the woman was afraid of her. Many of them were, the snatchers and the minders. They believed that Chandra had been attacked by her in her sleep, and that she had given the other girl a brain aneurysm. She saw that Chandra was dead, but it hadn't been her who'd done it. Masha saw something else, but the woman's mind recoiled with the information, covering it like a mother might her baby. Masha pushed, but nothing she did could get her the information. Masha? That was Mrs. Cashmere. Masha, sweetie, what are you doing? Sandy beach, rain, 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 rain. The woman Masha was supposed to be sending to was repeating the words again and again. Masha had seen too much, and now the lady might be broken. She was going to be in trouble, but not as much trouble if she could fix it. Masha went in and tried to fix what she'd done, but it was no use. The woman's head was a mess of wires and circuits. At least, that was how it appeared to Masha. And when she tried to fix it, there was a lot of smoke and sparks. Masha pushed harder, trying to repair the damage, but it was done and over with. The harder she pushed at the woman, the worse it got. And she finally pulled back to herself as Mrs. Cashmere began trying to get her out. Masha, Masha, come back, honey. Masha opened her eyes and saw that it was worse than she suspected. The woman was rocking back and forth, humming as she did so, and there were twin trickles of blood coming from her ears. Her eyes looked far and away, and Masha suddenly thought that college debt might be the least of her worries. Beach, beach, peachy beach, beach. Rain, rain, go away, come again another day, she sang, as she rocked back and forth like a teeter-totter. Mrs. Cashmere gently took the prompt from Masha's hand, and the girl was surprised to see she was smiling when she looked up at her. "Very good, Masha. It appears you have successfully sent the image. You have passed the midterm. Go ahead and take the day off if you want." But I... And then Masha waved her hands at the woman as if to say, "Look what I did. How can this be passing?" "Oh, it happens. You wouldn't be the first student to accidentally warp someone beyond repair. But for the finals, you will lose points for damaging your vessel. You can go ahead and leave. It's okay." Masha got shakily to her feet, but one look at her friends was enough to show her that she had done more than pass the midterm. Her friends didn't smile or give her thumbs up, and many of them seemed afraid to look at her. Masha didn't think there would be many of them at dinner, and fewer of them would join her table for breakfast. Masha may have passed the midterm, but she had failed something a lot more important. Good evening, everyone. It's me, Dr. Plague. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's show. If you think you might like a little more spooky in your life, then please feel free to click on one of the videos we have up here. Maybe look at one of the playlists if you're trying to get caught up. I know, there's so many videos on the channel. There's so many series that are going at the same time. Sometimes you just need a little refresher course, and I gotta say, I always enjoy the views. If you're not subscribed, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Maybe hit the bell so you don't miss anything. We upload a lot on this channel, so you won't want to miss a single story as they come out. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click on the Amazon link down there. There's quite a few books in my Amazon account. You can have a look, and if you'd like a signed copy, get up with me through email, and I'll be happy to work something out with you. Also, there's links to my Patreon, and you can become a member on the channel if you'd like your spooky a little bit early. Patrons and members on the $5 tier get their videos 12 hours early. That's in the morning as opposed to in the evening. Patrons at the $10 level also get a signed copy of my book anytime I write one. Speaking of my patrons, you should see them appearing right now. Just wanted to take a minute to say how much I appreciate all of you. Patrons, subscribers, however you give to the channel. I really appreciate everything you do, and it truly touches me that you have chosen to support the channel in this way. Well, that's enough for now. Till next time, Dr. Plague, signing off. Have a wonderful evening.